No, don't tell me. There we go. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I am Paul Baylog, and then John Richards, the co-steering committee member, was not able to make it tonight, but he had some gaming thing going on, so priorities, right? So anyway, get started into it. I want to thank CNCF for covering the Meetup fees. And by virtue of that, we like to stick with the code of conduct provided by them. Basically, be nice to each other. The facilities, thank you to Object Computing. Now we've got a nicer, bigger facility to stretch our legs and such and stretch out. And then food is being covered by my employer, Grafana Labs. And why is there we go. All right. And just wanted to throw it out there. We've got our friends and partners that are watching on the live stream as well. We get the Go Meetup, as well as now there's a new meetup in town called Grafana and Friends that's hosted by, I don't know, some guy, me, again. So just can't get enough of this. But yeah, so we'll be having an event actually next week. So it'll be going over GrafanaCon and all that. I should say next month. Correct that. And then also our other partner team up meetup group is Dev Como out in my new hometown of Columbia, Missouri. So, and then, yeah, the Go meetup group, we are part of the Go Developer Network, part of GoBridge. And here we go again. All right. Did I go past? No, okay. Just making sure I'm getting all click happy here. But yeah. So September 12th, and it would help if I would have reviewed my slides again before doing this. I was hastily working on my other slides, so I kind of forgot what all I had coming up here. But yeah, so this is kind of cool. So, I am the local CNCF ambassador, but we have this event coming up in Washington, D.C. It's a co-located event. It goes along with the DevOps days in D.C. On September 13th and 14th, but the Colo Day is actually on the 12th, $25 additional if you're going there. But anyway, they are accepting CFPs still till June 30th. So get something out there, have some fun, go travel, see the capital. November 6th coming up is going to be the next KubeCon North America in Chicago. CFPs are still open for that as well. So you got till June 18th. That'll get you a free ticket. So I'll be there. Not speaking, I don't think, but I'll be there. But yeah, otherwise, anything else going on in the group? Any openings that anyone's aware of? Or I usually like to throw that out, especially the Go meetup, though. This is the Cube Network meetup. But anyway. All right, there we go. All right, so now I get to switch over hats. It's me. I'm going to be presenting. So let me switch over to my official slides, which will all be available on the website, on the GitHub repo that we have. All right. So yeah, starting off with my disclaimer. I don't work with the Keptn project. This was my first actual look at it, really, other than a very cursory look, seeing some of the marketing on it. I'm just interested in continuous delivery and products like that. So I did throw this together. And then, yeah, forgive me, I ran out of time. So it's definitely not the most complete demonstration that you've ever seen. But yeah, so Keptn, that's the main thing of our talk here. It's a cloud native application to do lifecycle orchestration for your deployments. So all that to say that it's going to automate your CICD pipeline, and it applies service level objectives so that you can do things like remediations and roll back your application if metrics are showing that it's going off the rails. But it is a CNCF incubating project, all right, since July 22. So it's fairly recent. But yeah, and it'll utilize your observability platform, whether that's Grafana or whether that's something like a Datadog. You can use all that on the back end. It's based on GitOps practices, declarative and extensible. And then it has a new lifecycle toolkit. Just a little bit about the project life here. And as you can see, the main project here, it looks kind of strange because it's kind of falling off the commits. It's kind of reducing down to 0. Well, that's because they've decided to create a second project, which is actually what we're going to talk about. I know the title from the talk and everything was a little bit misleading because I started researching into this and it's like, whoa, wait, they have something totally new. They're going a new direction. And that's this life cycle, what is it there? The life cycle toolkit, okay? So Keptn is the red line there. That's the one they've got about 1,700 stars, I think, GitHub stars. And then the life cycle toolkit is quite new. Okay, so, whoop, click it. There we go. All right. So yeah, so Keptn V1, the OG, okay? That is going to be, you have a dashboard with your deployment status. It's got this nice little UI with the little red and yellow blocks and green to show you how everything's progressing. Gives you the automated remediations. And then it was events driven based on the Cloud Events project, which is another CNCF project. And then again, it was started all with the GitOps mentality, that things are going to be in your Git repository, and then actions will be triggered based on actions in your repository. Now, they defined your pipelines with stages. There was this big shipyard YAML, which could get large and obnoxious because it had all your different like dev environment or staging or production, all that configured. It had the Lighthouse service to evaluate your results, configurable alerts, and then the quality gates. So again, you can put your application through the pipeline and then go against your telemetry data and then decide on whether or not that application should proceed. So it was a nice way to, stop your CICD pipeline from continuing. Now, here's the weird part is that, yeah, this is no longer the direction that they're going with the project, or this is not the main focus. So what they're really going to be putting their time and effort to now is the lifecycle toolkit. So, and that's all I'm going to say about that for the moment. But anyway, so the lifecycle toolkit. So why are they doing this? Why have they they haven't forked it, but they've kind of switched directions a little bit. They pivoted. And that's because they feel that the lifecycle toolkit is the way forward. It's a more cloud native mechanism that they're going to use with this project to do the same thing. Again, it's all about orchestrating your application deployments, making sure things are good, applying your SLOs, making sure that things are working correct. So again, this is the way going forward. They wanted to be Kubernetes and cloud native. They use labels and annotations on your deployments, which will intercept your workloads that are going to the scheduler. So that's how they're going to kind of bring themselves inside and make sure and check, any types of checks that you have defined. And then now the quality gates will still be there, but they're now referring to them as evaluations. So there's the 3 primary cases that they use, or use cases for this project. Okay, so what they're talking about is they make any deployment observable, standardized access to the data, and then orchestration of deployment checks. Now I'll dig into each one of these a little bit here. So making your deployment observable is they're going to add or make available these DORA metrics. So I had to go and definitely Google that because I'm like, DORA, the Explorer? Yeah, so deployment frequency, the lead time, mean time to recover, and change failure rate. So these are all metrics that that probably most of us have heard of and love. But yeah, I had never heard them referred to as DORA, but I guess I'm not that much into the DevOps space that I had heard of that. But and then the goal is that they're going to make it where you can actually troubleshoot your failed deployments, and then they're going to provide trace data all the way from the Git commit all the way up to when it gets pushed to the cloud, and then you can bring your own deployment tool, so Argo CD or Flux or whatnot. So the dashboards and traces, this is going to be part of that. So now the other one, the OG V1, had the custom dashboard. They had their custom user interface that was deployed. And actually, I'm not sure if you ran that one in Kubernetes or not, if it had to be or not. But anyway, but what they're relying on, if you notice here by the logo up there, this is a Grafana. So they're going to have some dashboards, and this is going to have your application data in there. So this is going to have, this is kind of where I'm, anyway, point here, this is going to be your deployment data. This is the DORA metrics. So this is going to have, again, how long it takes each deployment and everything, and you can select which application. So each application, you're going to have the metrics for that specific thing. And now if we look down there, that looks just like with Jaeger. It's trace data. So basically, they're adding open telemetry data to the deployments. So this way, then you can use the rest of your observability platform to be able to actually track your deployments. So, does that mean that they're going to totally get rid of the UI? I'm really not sure. This is all very new. Kind of strange. I'm kind of surprised that they did this, but they definitely had their reasons. I need to reach out to their developer advocate, though, and get a conversation going, because I am kind of curious about that. But yeah, so this is going back now to that the second main use case. So standardized access to the observability data. So what they're going to do is they're going to have some adapters that are going to sit there and run and basically scrape, whatever your back end is. You're going to configure a provider, and then Keptn will actually go and it'll maybe, pull that provider every 20 seconds or whatever, and it's going to pull in this metrics data. And then you can have custom data as well. So you can have a PromQL query that you pull in, and the metrics adapter will hold that internally, and then you can use other tools that can use that data from this provider. So that way, then your Keptn instance, this metrics server, would be your source to other tools to actually get metrics. So they don't go directly to your Prometheus server or Datadog or anything like that. You don't need all these other plugins or adapters. So this will be your common source for the data. Let's see, did I get them all here? Yeah. Okay. There we go. And here's just a little diagram of how that happens. So the operator, again, it's all deployed in Kubernetes. So the metrics operator will actually go and I said scrape. That's probably a poor choice of words there, but it's going to pull the data from your backend platform, whichever one that you have. Sadly, for my employer, Grafana Cloud is not listed there, but we'll get there. I stole these diagrams, so they just didn't have it included there. But yeah, so again, all these other tools, Kata and your horizontal autoscaler, they can go against this metrics adapter and then use that. So everybody's using the same data. The third point was the orchestration of deployment checks. So the same functionality was there with V1, but now it's kind of split up a little bit differently. So now these are handled as custom resource definitions in Kubernetes. So these are custom types, and then you'll have the pre-deployment, post-deployment. Again, excuse me, the pre-deployment, you can validate external dependencies. So basically, before you deploy to production, is the database there actually deployed? So if it's a fresh green install, make sure that it's up and running before tries to go and deploy this. You could do something with maybe before an image goes to a staging environment or something, that it runs and checks that a security scan has been done on all the Docker layers, that type of deal. Post deployment checks. So after it's been deployed, just to make sure that that's where you could execute load tests with like K6, and then check against baselines and say, hey, did we regress in our performance? And if we did, we can roll back automatically, not have somebody, make the call. So good to use with like a canary type scenarios as well. Send notifications to stakeholders, because we all love Slack messages, right? Automatic validation against your service level objectives. So again, I kind of spoke a little bit about that with the K6 thing against a baseline, but yeah, here you can go against your service level objectives and make sure that you're not going beyond, you're not really putting the system in a bad spot. And again, just another stolen diagram, just a little simple overview of the process. So these are all YAML based, because this is Kubernetes. So these custom resources go into Kubernetes, they go through the pre-checks, all that good stuff, and then to the deploy, and then it'll run the post checks. And now is going to be the fun part, because I just realized that I have my laptop over here because cables are short. Oh boy. Okay. All right. All right. Let's do this. I'm going to go off camera for this. Get in the StreamYard. Okay. So let's see. Let me switch back here. All right. So we are back. Okay. All right. So yeah. So what I couldn't show you, again, was the Grafana dashboards, because I wanted to get that all in the Docker setup. And then I tried, Grafana free cloud. I was having kind of issues there, but by that time I was already done for the day. I'm like, I was like, screw this, I'm going home. But yeah, so we couldn't have the traces for the deployments. I was going to use Jaeger and then try Tempo, and then let's see, the how to connect metrics to the Grafana cloud. I was going to try that, and then I wanted to trigger a K6 test to start doing some of that quality gate, the SLOs. But just the demo gods were not in my favor for that one, to get that all set up in time. But so anyway, so with Keptn, again, early days in it. They have their roadmap there. If you want to hit the QR code, that goes straight to one of their GitHub project boards that is set up for their roadmap. They're working on multi-stage cluster observability, instances as first-class types, so another CRD. The concept of promotion. So this is kind of getting to some of the feature parity with the OG, right? The whole thing with promotion. So going between, dev to staging to production, go through that. The native support for containers in the tasks. So again, so that you don't have to just strictly use the Deno scripts. And then propagating results from the task execution. Because right now, we had to just go drill down, dig into the task pod that, was completed, and then see any logs if they were in there. And then, much more. And so my final thoughts after all this fun and pain that I was encouraged, that I was getting into, Keptn's cool. It's got great potential as a project. It really does. That's what attracted me to it in the first place, is that whole ability to really automate this the deployment pipelines. But being that it's now the two projects, it's a little bit confusing, the message that they're sending. Again, I can't fault them too awful much. It's been a few months, but they're working on it. Documentation gaps, some of the functionality, that they're like on some of their main pages, and that are like, click here to learn more, and then you click there, and then there's only the headline. There's no meat to the documentation. So it's like, getting more examples going, but yeah, I'm definitely going to be trolling the GitHub issues that they have, and seeing if I can help out wherever possible, and then, reevaluate it in 6 to 12 months. So right now, my grade for it is a C. But because as the caveat there, based upon my very subjective scoring, no, it was definitely an interesting project. Looking forward to what they come out with next. So that's all I got for that one. Any questions on that stuff?
Yeah, I have a question.
Huh?
So for the post-deployment and pre-deployment scripts that you're running, can you trigger those as workflows? Can you have multiple ones running at the same time, or would you have to plug in something like Argo workflow or something to trigger workflows?
You could do so I know it's that's their thing, is basically bring your own tool on that stuff. So you can do Argo rollouts and all that stuff. So if you have any kind of workflows like that, now you can chain multiple those tasks. Now the funny thing was, though, that I ran into, because I was like, oh yeah, hey, then I'll maybe expand on that Mr. Potato Head example, and I'll say, okay, now instead of just waiting for front end, let's make the legs go last or something. So I was having a couple different tasks that I wanted to run. Well, when I added the labels for multiples, comma separated, it failed. It kept blowing up. Well, it only works at the annotation level. So that was kind of weird. So I don't know if that's a Kubernetes, the way with the resources, but anyway, but all that to say that, yeah, you can do, you can put multiple tasks, you know, for a pre-deploy in that. Now you can't get like super fancy with workflows that I know of, unless maybe you're scripting, you know, to do that. You know, to do things like, you know, fork processes and then do a collection process, you know, so you can have some parallelism. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, if you get creative with the scripting, I'm sure you can probably do something like that. But yeah. Well, cool. All right. And then let's see. Well, yeah. So now I go back to the the host view. And yeah, I lied here. I don't have any giveaways other than the stickers, the normal swag. But yeah, one of the things too is CNCF ambassador. I got like a card or a gift thing for like the swag store there. So I need to put in some orders. But everything that I want to order, it's like they don't have it. It's like they're out of it. Yeah. So next month, June 13th, we're gonna have Grafana local. So that'll be sponsored by Grafana and Friends. And then I didn't know that I was gonna be the speaker. It's like, oh, I'm not a expert at Grafana, that's for sure. So it's gonna be interesting what they're gonna have me do. But yeah, I thought they were going to set me up with the speaker to come in here, and I just need to worry about hosting and all that stuff. But no. So yeah, learn my lesson. Don't volunteer. But yeah, so that's all right. The what? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So cool. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And I'm going to go ahead and shut that off.